So you've made the decision, and today is your first day on the carnivore diet. What do you do now? We're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Hello everyone, I am Semi-Retired Bob. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today we're going to talk about how to get started. The whole reason we're going back over this today is I have gotten a couple of comments that, today's my first day, or I just started this a week ago, what do I do? That kind of comment. So I figured it was worth going back over it again. Before we get on into that, if you're new here, welcome. I'm glad you found us. Feel free to drop down in the comments and say hello. If you're wondering what in the world you're watching here, well, you're basically watching me walk. I try to find some interesting things to talk about along the way. Some days I'm more successful at that than others, but basically you're watching me walk. The thing that makes this exciting, at least to me, is that 15 months ago I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes without severe pain. And now I'm out here walking every day. I'm not going super far today because I also just got done cutting my grass, which was a lot of work. I'm getting real tired of the grass growing so much in late August. That usually happens in the spring, not down into the deep part of August. But that's a whole other story. The whole point of this channel is to show you that it's never too late to change your life. Now, there's people down that way, so doing yard work, so we're going to head back up this way just a little bit. But anyway, I am 60 years old. I'm doing things I never thought I could do. So why don't you give me a little bit of a hand here in getting the word out. Go ahead and hit the like, hit the subscribe. Go ahead and share this video with someone who you think might need it. I'm closing in on 6,000 subscribers. Only a few hundred to go. That would be really awesome. But for those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here as well. It does mean an awful lot to me that you spend just a few moments of your day listening to what an old retired truck driver has to say. But anyway, let's get on into this thing. It's day one. What in the world do I do now? And this can be helpful to people that have been doing this for a while and have gotten derailed or sidetracked or whatever. The first thing to remember is that carnivore diet is any animal product. Now, I know I just talked about yesterday that, I gave up cheese for a while. I'm giving it up for a while. But when you're just getting started, you don't have to do all that stuff. Beef, pork, chicken, fish, any kind of poultry, basically any kind of meat or anything that comes from the animal. And dairy comes from the animal. Now, there are many people out there that have problems with dairy. So when you're first getting started, I would stick to just some cheeses to get you used to eating this way. But the whole point of this, how do I get started? Just get started. You've already made the decision to take all of the processed foods out of your diet. You've made the decision that you're not going to eat anything with added sugar in it. You're going to try and get rid of all the starches, which is also sugar. So that basically leaves you with animal products. And just eat them. When you're first getting started, especially if this is day one or day two, or you're within the first week or so, don't listen to all the noise out there about this macro, that macro, take this supplement, do that. The only thing I will say is make sure you're salting plenty good, because your electrolytes are going to go out of whack for just a few weeks as you're first starting. And that'll help stave off what's called the keto flu. Basically, it's that icky feeling you get when you cut out all the other crap and your electrolytes go out of balance. But just eat the food as much as you want, as often as you want. You know, eventually your body's going to get to the point where you're only eating 1 or 2 meals a day, preferably one bigger and one smaller. Well, that sun is just square up behind me right now. Sorry about that. But that's not something to worry about when you're first getting started. You know, how much fat versus protein should I get? Again, that's not something to worry about when you're first getting started. Salt your food to taste. Well, how often should I be eating? That's not something you need to worry about when you're first getting started. When you're first getting started, just get used to eating the proper foods. And everything else will take care of itself and sort itself out as you go. Okay, that sun right behind me is starting to bug me on the camera, so I'm going to turn around and head back the other way again. Now I'm not even sure exactly what I've said. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I've said many times on this channel, don't worry about the 10% problems. You know, what your macros look like, how often you fast, or you know, protein sparing, modified fasts, egg fasts, how much protein versus how much fat. Do I need to add in a little bit of carb here and there to carb cycle? No, you don't, by the way. No. The main thing you need to know is that eat the meat with its associated fat, add the salt, drink the water. That will get you 90% of where you want to go. It's not complicated. It is hard because you're giving up a lot of stuff, but it's not complicated. Everybody wants to make it complicated. It is not complicated. Eat the meat with its associated fat, add the salt, drink the water. And yes, you can add some electrolytes to stave off the keto flu, and then as you go, you'll figure out how much you have to adjust on the electrolytes to keep yourself in pretty healthy shape. You know, if you're feeling a little weak, a little run down, it's, in my opinion, now remember I'm not a doctor, but if you end up feeling weak and run down after a few weeks, you are either not getting enough electrolytes, or you're not getting enough, period. You're not eating enough. Because that's the one thing I want to warn you about. Because a carnivore diet is very satiating, it is a very common mistake for people to undereat. Let's see if I can get this in the shade. There we go. It's a common mistake for people to undereat without even realizing they're undereating. They feel full, so they stop. And I know calories is not a great way to look at things, but a lot of people will end up only eating, you know, 11, 12, 1,300 calories a day. That's not enough. According to Nurse Cindy, 1,600 calories is the bare minimum for anybody doing zero activity. So you want to make sure you're eating enough. But other than that, just eat the meat and the associated fat, add the salt, drink the water. And ignore all the other noise out there until you're 90% of the way there. Then you may have to play around with stuff. I mean, I've been playing around with stuff for the last 6 months because I'm within just a few pounds of what I'd originally set as my goal weight. And I'm not actually worried that much about it. I don't get on the scale more than about once a month now because my clothes are still fitting better. I know I'm getting stronger from all the exercises I've been doing. So I just don't really care that much about how much gravity affects my mass on the scale. It's just not that big a deal. Members only Zoom call. I'll post it in the community tab so that if you're a member, you'll be able to see it. And I think I'm going to post it as the announcement as public so that everybody can see it's coming up and check the date. But I believe it's Thursday the 24th at 6:30. I wrote it down on my calendar and then forgot to bring a note sheet with me. I'll let you know as we get closer to it, but I think it's Thursday the 24th or whatever, not this coming Thursday, but the following Thursday, whatever that following Thursday is, that's the day it is, and it's going to be at 6:30 Central Time. So that's what I've got for you today, folks. Hopefully what I said here made a little bit of sense. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I will see you in the next one.